Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Most people are sleeping in, having coffee slowly, doing nothing at all. But one person is at the kitchen table with a phone, a stack of grocery store flyers, and a browser with 6 different tabs open, comparing prices, clipping digital coupons, planning a route that hits 3 stores to maximize savings. 2 hours later, that person has saved $23 and feels great about it. But nobody told that person that those 2 hours just cost more than $23. Nobody explained that the system specifically designed this feeling of victory to keep people distracted from a much bigger game. That person is Gen X, and Gen X has been falling for this trap for decades. My name is Tim, and I'm going to break down the exact, shocking calculation that proves your obsession with discounts is the silent reason your bank account is standing completely still. A numbers trap most Gen Xers only discover when it's too late. Like, subscribe, and let's start. Number 1. The coupon illusion. Your time has a price tag. Here's a number nobody talks about. Every working hour of your life has a dollar value. If you earn $60,000 a year and work 2,000 hours, each hour is worth $30. That's not a metaphor, that's math. And that math applies whether you're at work or at home, whether it's Tuesday afternoon or Saturday morning. Every single minute of your life has a value. So when Gen X spends 15 minutes driving to a cheaper gas station to save $1.50, time spent, 15 minutes equals $7.50 in hourly value. Money saved, $1.50. Net result, minus $6 loss. When they spend 20 minutes clipping digital coupons to save $4 on groceries, time spent, 20 minutes equals $10 in hourly value. Money saved, $4. Net result, minus $6 loss. When they spend 40 minutes comparing 5 different websites to save $11 on a household item, time spent, 40 minutes equals $20 in hourly value. Money saved, $11. Net result, minus $9 loss. These aren't isolated incidents. Gen X does this multiple times per week. Every week, every year, and it adds up across a typical week like this. Coupon research, 20 minutes, saves $4. Price comparison, 35 minutes, saves $8. Extra driving to cheaper store, 25 minutes, saves $3. Rebate form, 20 minutes, saves $5. Waiting in a longer checkout to use cashback app, 15 minutes, saves $2. Total time, 115 minutes. Total saved, $22. Total hourly value lost, $57. Weekly net loss, minus $35. Over a year, that's $1,820 evaporated, while Gen X believed they were being financially responsible. And here's what makes this a trap rather than just a mistake. The feeling of saving $4 is real. The loss of $10 in time is invisible. The brain registers the coupon win. The brain doesn't register the opportunity cost. The system built this asymmetry on purpose. It gives you a visible reward to hide an invisible cost. Number 2. The sales psychology. Spending more to save more. Here's where it gets expensive. Retail psychology discovered decades ago that people spend more money when a transaction is framed as saving. Gen X, raised to be careful with money, is especially vulnerable to this framing. The "buy 2, get 1 free" tag appears on shampoo. Gen X only needed 1 bottle, but 3 bottles means 1 is free. So 3 get bought. That's double the spending to get a 3rd bottle that sits under the sink for 8 months. No money was saved. More money was spent, and it was called saving. The 40% off sticker appears on a jacket. Gen X wasn't shopping for a jacket, but 40% off is a good deal, and it might not be there next week, so it gets purchased. An expense was created that didn't exist before the discount sign did. Free shipping on orders over $75. There's $52 in the cart, so $23 worth of extras get added to avoid a $6 shipping fee. $23 spent to avoid $6. Here's what the math looks like across a typical Gen X month. Extra items bought due to buy more, save more promotions, $45. Impulse buys triggered by discount framing, $60. Items purchased because they were on sale that weren't on the list, $35. Monthly overspend from saving money, $140. That's $1,680 per year spent on things that were never needed, triggered entirely by discounts that created a feeling of being smart. Number 3. The mental bandwidth tax. The cost nobody calories. This is the hardest part to measure, but it might be the most expensive. The human brain has a finite amount of decision-making capacity each day. Researchers call it cognitive depletion. Every choice you make draws from a limited resource. Small decisions cost the same mental energy as big ones, and once that resource is depleted, thinking quality drops. Gen X spends enormous mental energy on tiny financial decisions. Which store has cheaper eggs? Is this coupon worth the time? Should I wait for a better deal on this? Is this really the lowest price, or should I check 2 more sites? Is this sale genuine, or is the original price inflated? None of these are big questions, but they all consume real cognitive bandwidth. And every hour of mental energy pointed at $4 savings is an hour not pointed at building something meaningful. A Harvard and Princeton research collaboration published in the book Scarcity 2013 found something striking. People in a scarcity mindset, constantly focused on small financial shortfalls and decisions, show measurably reduced performance on problem-solving and IQ tests compared to people not under that pressure. The mental load of managing scarcity directly reduces the capacity to think about anything else. Gen X has trained itself to live in a permanent scarcity mindset, watching prices, tracking deals, optimizing small transactions. And this mental posture, held for 30 years, has quietly made it harder to see the larger picture. The coupon didn't just cost 2 minutes. It cost part of the day's best thinking. Number 4. The identity trap. When frugal becomes a prison. Here's what doesn't get talked about enough. Gen X grew up in economic uncertainty, recessions, layoffs, companies breaking their promises to loyal employees. They learned early that every dollar matters, that you have to be careful, that watching your spending is how you survive. That lesson was real. It was valuable. It kept a lot of Gen X families afloat. But somewhere along the way, being careful with money stopped being a strategy and became a personality. Being frugal isn't something Gen X does anymore. It's who they are. And that identity now works against them. Because the identity of someone who saves money requires constant proof. It needs coupons. It needs price comparisons. It needs the satisfaction of finding a deal. Not because the math makes sense, but because stopping would mean you're no longer that person. The behavior that protected them at 25 is limiting them at 55. A 25-year-old earning $35,000 should think carefully about every $10 purchase. That's rational. That's survival. A 55-year-old earning $95,000 spending 45 minutes to save $11 is burning irreplaceable time to protect something that no longer needs protecting. The difference isn't the coupon. The difference is whether the behavior is serving you or whether you're serving the behavior. Number 5. The invisible compound loss. What 20 years of saving actually costs. Here's the calculation nobody runs. Take a Gen X person spending 5 hours per week on saving money activities. Coupons, price comparisons, driving to cheaper stores, filling out rebates, hunting deals. 5 hours per week. Every week. 5 hours times 50 weeks equals 250 hours per year. If those 250 hours were redirected toward generating income instead, consulting, freelancing, selling a skill online, building any side revenue at a modest $20 per hour, that's $5,000 per year in additional income. $5,000 per year invested at 7% annual return over 20 years becomes $204,000. Now compare that to what the coupon strategy actually delivers. If Gen X saves $30 per week through all their saving money behavior, that's $1,560 per year. Invested at 7% over 20 years, that becomes $64,000. The gap? $140,000. The saving money strategy costs Gen X $140,000 over 20 years compared to redirecting that same time toward creating income instead. This is the hidden cost. Not hidden because the math is complicated, hidden because nobody wants to admit that the thing making them feel responsible is quietly costing them a fortune. The audit of hidden costs. So here's what matters right now. This week, track every minute spent saving money. Every coupon, every price comparison, every extra mile driven to a cheaper store, every rebate form, every deal researched. Write it down. Be honest. Multiply those hours by your real hourly value. Compare that number to what was actually saved. In most cases, the time cost is higher than the savings, which means you're not saving money. You're spending your most valuable resource to protect your least valuable one. Time cannot be earned back. $20 can be. Gen X got that equation backwards, and the system, with its discount signs, coupon apps, flash sales, and limited time offers, made sure they stayed that way. Because a Gen X person focused on a $4 coupon is a Gen X person not asking why their income stopped growing 10 years ago. They feel responsible, they feel disciplined, they feel in control. But real control isn't watching the price of milk. Real control is building something so solid that the price of milk stops mattering. That's the mindset the system never wanted Gen X to develop. And that's exactly why nobody talks about the hidden cost of saving money. I'll see you in the next video.